Nimzo-Indian defense for black is a really strong opening, and it's a really great weapon to have in your arsenal against the first move of white, d4. It's very flexible. It can be very positional in terms of making the game sort of closed and a little more passive, giving you time to maneuver, which we're going to learn about. And it can also be very tactical and aggressive. So it's very flexible, and it can cause your opponent a lot of problems if they aren't very well versed in it. So we're going to go through some of the most popular lines that are played at all levels of the game in the Nimzo-Indian, and it's named after Aaron Nimzovich, who was a famous grandmaster in the 20th century. He kind of perfected this opening, made it very effective at high levels of the game, world championship matches, and super grandmaster level tournaments, and it is still very, very popular with all the best players in the world. So that's always a good testament to how strong the opening is. If it's still really popular and it's still used by the greatest players in the world. Some openings are really fun to play, but they've been abandoned by the top grandmasters. It usually doesn't really matter that much for us if we're mostly playing chess for fun and we just want to win against our friends or maybe join some online tournaments or whatever. But it's good to know that the opening is used by the best players all of the time. You know that it's going to be a good one. So basically, when white plays d4, we start out with this move, knight to f6. Now this knight to f6 move, it is really flexible. So we haven't really gone into the Nimzo-Indian yet. If we want to, after white's next move, we can go into the King's Indian defense, the King's Indian opening. And I am going to make a course on that opening as well. It's also a very, very powerful, effective opening. But in this course, we're going to look at the Nimzo-Indian, and I'm going to show you guys how to kick butt with this opening as black. So a lot of players as white, after they play d4 like this, they will follow up with c4. The reason being that this is putting two pawns in the center of the board. They're going to develop this knight and then delay casting a little bit and go from there. It's a very solid setup for white. It's a very common pattern for them to play. And there are many different ways we can choose to play against this. If we choose to play g6 right away, then we are going into the King's Indian. But we're going to play this move e6, which sets us up for the Nimzo-Indian. It puts us in a very, very solid formation for black. It's very, very strong, and it's hard for white to get any kind of attack going or any kind of big advantage going in the beginning of the game. Basically what we're doing is we're kind of letting them establish their presence in the center, and then we're going to counterattack in the center. So the most common move for white here is to play the knight out, and then the move that we're going to go with, that we're going to look at in this first variation, is we're going to put the bishop here on b4. It's the most common move, and for really good reason. It develops our pieces out, as allows us to castle right away if we want to, and we have no weaknesses in our position, and it pins this knight. So this is how we're going to start the course. We're going to look at all the different variations that go from this move, bishop to b4. We're going to look at when white plays a6 and immediately threatens the bishop. What do we do if they move out these other pawns, or if they move out the queen? These different well-known variations. What are the best moves to play, and what are we trying to accomplish in this opening for black? There's a lot of surprises that we can throw out there against white. If they aren't careful, if they don't really know how to play, they can find themselves in a really awkward position and lose the game also very early on if they make any mistakes. So we're going to look at this Nimzo-Indian defense, and hopefully you guys, by the end of this course, will be able to add it to your chess opening repertoire as a very powerful, in some ways, surprise weapon, because people don't know how to play it very well. It's not one of the very most popular openings at lower levels of the game on the internet. A lot of people don't know it very well. So I'm hoping that you guys, when you start playing it, you'll get some good results, because your opponents will be a little bit unprepared and make some mistakes in your game.